Hi everyone, have you ever wondered, why would a man surrounded by luxury cars still keep one old motorbike in the most important place in his garage? Is it just an old habit? A memory he cannot forget? Or is there a secret behind that rusty machine that even money can never replace? Today, I want to tell you a story about Jack, about Ly Tu Tien, and about a motorbike that once carried them through the hardest days of their lives. 10 years later, when everything has changed, that old bike still remains. And the reason why is more emotional than anyone expected. If you enjoy stories about love, healing, and family, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so you will not miss the next story. Now, let's begin. "10 years later, life has changed in ways that once felt impossible. The days of struggle are gone. The seasons of uncertainty have passed. And the people who once walked through storms together now live in a beautiful modern villa on the quiet edge of town. Behind the house is a private garage made of glass, steel, and polished stone. At night, white LED lights run across the ceiling like soft lines of moonlight. Everything inside looks clean, expensive, almost unreal. There are luxury cars parked in perfect order. A white SUV, a glossy black sports car, a rare supercar that looks like it belongs in a magazine. Every machine there reflects success, power, and status. But right in the center of that grand garage, on a raised platform under the brightest light, stands something no visitor ever expects. An old motorbike. It is not beautiful in the way luxury cars are beautiful. It is small, simple, modest. It has been cleaned and preserved with care. But Jack did not let anyone erase its age completely. A few marks are still there. A few scratches remain, as if he wanted time itself to stay on its surface. Because that bike is not there for decoration. It is there like a memory on display, like a quiet truth standing in the middle of success. One Saturday morning, Jack's children wander into the garage before breakfast. His son, nearly 10 years old now, has begun to notice everything. His little sister walks beside him, still sleepy, still hugging a toy in one arm. They stop in front of the old motorbike. The boy looks around at the expensive cars, then back at the bike. His forehead wrinkles in confusion. "Dad," he asks, "why is this old motorbike in the middle? Shouldn't the best car be here?" Jack has just entered behind them. He hears the question and smiles. Not the smile of a man amused by a child's innocence, but the smile of someone who has been waiting for the right moment to tell an important story. Ly Tu Tien is standing by the doorway too, holding 2 cups of warm milk. When she hears the question, she stops walking. She already knows what Jack is going to say. Jack steps closer to the bike. For a moment, he does not answer. His hand gently touches the handlebar. And suddenly, his face changes. The garage is still modern, still bright, still luxurious, but his eyes are somewhere else, far away, long ago. Then he finally says very softly, "This is the most important vehicle in our family." The children stare at him in surprise. Jack looks at his children and speaks in a voice calmer than usual. "There was a time," he says, "when this motorbike was all we had." The boy blinks. He can hardly imagine it, because to him, his father has always been strong, always capable, always the man who knows what to do. But Jack continues, "There was a time when life did not go the way I planned. I had dreams, I had ambition, I wanted to move fast, build fast, win fast. I thought if I worked hard enough, everything would come quickly." He pauses. But life does not always move at the speed of our pride. Outside the glass wall, the wind brushes through the trees. Inside, The whole garage feels quieter. There were setbacks, Jack says. There were moments when I had to stop chasing the image of success and focus only on surviving, rebuilding, and protecting the people I loved. His eyes shift gently toward Ly Tu Tien. In those days, this old motorbike carried us everywhere. The children move closer. Jack's voice becomes softer. It was not comfortable. It was not impressive. And sometimes it broke down at the worst times. The little girl lets out a tiny laugh. Jack smiles too. But then his expression turns warm and distant again. Your mother used to sit behind me on this bike. Sometimes she carried groceries. Sometimes she carried medicine. Sometimes she carried nothing at all. Except worry. Ly Tu Tien lowers her eyes and smiles faintly. There were early mornings, Jack says, when the air was cold and the road was empty, and there were late evenings when we rode home exhausted, too tired to speak much, but still relieved that we were going home together. He runs his fingers lightly across the bike seat. This motorbike saw things no one else saw. It saw us when we had almost nothing. It saw us when we were afraid. It saw us when we still believed that if we did not let go of each other, life would eventually change. His son listens quietly now. No more childish confusion, only attention. Then Jack kneels slightly so he is at eye level with both children. This bike taught me one lesson I want you to remember your whole life. The children look at him seriously. Sometimes, we need to step back one step so we can move forward 10 steps later. The boy repeats it slowly. 1 step back to move 10 steps forward? Jack nods. Yes, when life pushes you back, it does not always mean you are losing. Sometimes it means you are being prepared. Sometimes it means you need patience. Sometimes it means pride has to become smaller, so wisdom can grow. He places one hand on the old motorbike. If I had refused to step back in those years, I might have made foolish choices. I might have lost everything trying to look strong. But instead, I accepted a simpler road for a while, a humbler road. And that road gave me time to build again, properly. His voice grows deeper. This bike carried me through the season when I was learning how to become the man I needed to be. Until then, Ly Tu Tien has stayed quiet. Now she walks forward slowly and stands beside Jack. She looks at the bike as if she can still see dust on the road. Hear the sound of the engine. Feel the evening wind against her face. Back then, she says softly, I never felt ashamed of this bike. The children turn to her. Because when I sat behind your father, I did not feel poor. I did not feel unlucky. I only felt that, as long as we were still going together, there was hope. Jack glances at her, and for a moment, neither says anything. But the silence between them is the kind that only people with deep love can understand. Ly Tu Tien touches the side of the bike gently. To other people, maybe it was just an old motorbike, she says. But to me, it was courage. That word hangs in the air. Courage. Suddenly, the old bike in the center of the luxury garage does not look small anymore. It looks sacred. Jack stands again and looks at both children. The secret behind this motorbike, he says, is not its age, not its design, not its value. He pauses. It is what it carried. It carried struggle. It carried patience. It carried the quiet beginning of everything this family has now. It carried love when love had no comfort around it. It carried dreams before they became real. And it carried 2 people through the season when giving up would have been easiest. Jack puts a hand on his son's shoulder. One day, life may ask you to accept a smaller path than the one you imagined. Then he looks at his daughter. When that day comes, do not be ashamed. Do not think simple things are worthless. And never laugh at the things that helped someone survive hard times. His voice lowers, because often, the most ordinary thing in your life becomes the holiest memory later. Morning sunlight slowly spreads through the glass walls of the garage. It touches the expensive cars. It glides across the polished floor. It shines over wealth, comfort, and achievement. But somehow, the old motorbike in the center still feels brighter than all the rest. The little girl hugs her toy and whispers, "Dad, promise you will never sell it." Jack smiles, but his eyes are slightly wet. "I promise." The boy looks at the bike for a long moment and says, "So this is not really the oldest vehicle here. It is the most important one." Jack nods. "Yes, because this bike reminds me that success is not where the story began. Love is." Ly Tu Tien stands beside him, her face calm, warm, and full of memory. And in that quiet garage, surrounded by everything they once dreamed of, the truth becomes clear. The old motorbike was never left behind, because the road it carried them through was too important to forget. It reminded Jack that stepping back once did not ruin his future. It saved it. And sometimes, the smallest step backward is what creates the longest road forward. So if life ever slows you down, if it humbles you, if it asks you to ride through a difficult season before reaching the life you want, do not be afraid, because one step back may be preparing 10 steps ahead. And sometimes, the rustiest thing you keep holds the brightest truth of all. That love is not proven by how grand the road looks, but by who stayed with you when the road was hardest.